Okay, I'd like to start our meeting, planning and zoning work meeting for February 10th, 2026 at 7 o'clock. If you'll stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Could we get roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner Lilly. Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
Commissioners Canfield. I'm not even reading this stuff. Commissioner Sniffen.
Here.
And Commissioner Jackman.
Here.
What did you say your first name was?
Steve.
Oh, planning and zoning administrator Travis Allen.
Yeah, don't forget that guy. Here.
And P&Z admin assistant Misty Madden. Here.
Okay, have everyone had the opportunity to read the minutes from the January 27th meeting?
Yes.
Is there any changes or you have a motion?
I move to accept them.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of the January 27th meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So now we'll go on to discussion items. First one, I guess, is artificial turf.
So it was come to the request when we had Chairman Stufflebeam, now Mayor, that we had discussion about allowing artificial turf in yards, not necessarily in building or exterior walls. So he has emailed some of his suggestions on this sheet right here. It just starts with chapter because he didn't know what chapter would fit in. On that page, more than likely this would go into our Title 11. I think it'll be chapter 4 or 3, probably chapter 3. And then it'll probably be section G from there. But in this document, he's made a lot of good suggestions about what should go into it when we allow the artificial turf installation. It has a purpose and intent paragraph. And we'll just read that real quick. The purpose of this chapter is to establish uniform standards for artificial turf installations within the city of Blackfoot, recognizing artificial turf as a manufactured surface with distinct drainage, heat, safety, and life cycle characteristics. These standards are intended to protect public health and safety while providing clarity for applicants, staff, and enforcement. So he's provided us with a lot of sections that are good, especially for residential installations. It's going to require an engineered base. It has a statement in here not requiring a conditional use permit, not unless it's for, it says no conditional use permit will be required in residential zones. And it doesn't really mention how we would require like a commercial zone or a commercial building. And if failure.
Does one need a permit and the other not?
I think he's taken that example from cities like Ammon and Idaho Falls that used artificial turf in their high school football fields and track fields. A lot of that has to do with the drainage. I know in other cities they have a problem with it. If half the town's in a floodplain, they don't like it because it won't let the water drain off, won't let it absorb into the ground.
It does though. Artificial turf drains. I sold it, I've installed it.
Yeah,
I mean, it drains. I mean, if you buy true artificial, if you go buy the green stuff at a carpet storage, not.
That's right.
But
And
but
so,
a true artificial turf is designed to drain that water, go through it.
yeah, and then that's why he provided these other definitions, what artificial turf is and what an engineered base is. And a permeable surface as well. So that helps with that definition and helps kind of resolve that problem. If you buy proper artificial turf and not just artificial carpet out of the store and put it on concrete, then it's not going to drain. It's not going to base. There's a lot of considerations in here. It does cover drainage, heat considerations, winter considerations for snow and ice, and a little bit about fire exposure. The building code kind of suggests that they don't want it seen on like an outdoor patio on a second level. So if a fire starts inside the house, it doesn't hold the heat in and smoke in or anything like that. Or it doesn't finally, when it ignites, be like a burning tire burning there, like burning a rubber tire. So these are a lot of good suggestions. How I would implement this into our code. I've begun the draft on this, but I haven't had a chance for Garrett to review it and to make sure that it's all formatted correctly and make sure that everything's in there. I've used every bit of this. The definitions wouldn't be in section 3. The definitions would be at the beginning of the landscaping chapter within them definitions, to update them definitions to include this section. It would start with section G of that chapter. I think you had, I think I had the section of the code that it would go in there. This 11.9.3 sheet and the highlighted section on the back where it says, what the code says now is prohibited materials and landscaping, no artificial trees, plants, or carpeting shall be used as a vegetation substitute. To update that, we would probably just cross out the or carpeting, and then put the or between artificial trees and plants.
Well, the carpeting is different than artificial turf.
Yeah, but it doesn't mention or has a definition of artificial turf in there currently right now.
Gotcha.
So that's the closest thing we have to turf.
Did those apartments over on Airport, did they put artificial turf in?
No, they
He
did.
laid grass or sod and then he pulled it up and they said he was gonna put turf in.
Yeah, well, he laid sod down and it didn't take for some reason. And then the sod that he ordered to replace it came rolled up and it did look like artificial turf,
Oh,
but it was sod.
Oh.
And then they re-rolled it out. It come in 2 huge rolls, like hay bales.
mm-hmm.
And normally you see sod there and, yard lengths and they're all rolled up,
Mm-hmm.
stacked on a pallet. That's just how it came. I think he used like Bermuda grass, not Kentucky blue. And that's why it came that way.
You can get Kentucky blue in those big ones.
Really?
You just have to have a machine to do it. That's what I did for State Hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, yeah,
Just the equipment to move it around.
yeah,
Beast.
bigger rolls and if you had the forklift to unload it. And roll it
And
out.
there's actually a roller.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you don't have to do a yard at a time.
Yeah. So you have
All
the
right.
seams, they're wider.
So that's what most of this discussion is today, is that you review through these suggestions from Mayor Stufflebeam. After this section 7 of enforcement is a lot of pros and cons of using artificial turf that he's done his own research on, or some of the research that I provided as well. What's good and bad things about it, but they're mostly good. Other cities had some other issues, and we tried to write this code and these suggestions as well as we possibly could to avoid them issues that other cities have had. That's why they have them definitions. And That's why there's that definition of engineered base and permeable surface, because if you don't put it on the right base, it won't drain. It'll just sit there. If you don't have a permeable surface, it won't get absorbed into the ground underneath it. And they don't suggest trying to do a lot with it in the winter if it gets frozen or snow on it. You just wait till it thaws out. Yeah, because using a shovel on it will tear it up. In some other bigger cities, they do have some concerns about when that turf is at its end of life, how it fills up landfills, and that it might be putting microplastics in drains and stuff like that. But there hasn't been any real solid evidence other than filling up landfills.
How long does it usually stay?
Usually they have a life expectancy that I've seen in my research of 50 years, as long as you take care of it. They provide all sorts of tools and accessories to fluff it up, like a little vacuum and a little sweeper. One other concern was if you don't use or if your pets pee on it and poop on it, if you don't use the right cleaner on it, that'll kind of retain that smell. But there's cleaners that you can use to get that out, and as long as you pick it up and don't let it sit there, take care of things, it usually goes about as well as grass goes.
We did one in Idle Falls at an apartment complex where they take their pets
Yeah,
and sprinklers hit it and wash it down.
wash it down.
There's no smell or anything, and it's been up, they've had it for 4 years now.
Really? Yeah, I noticed they did that in Pocatello or in Chubbuck over there off of what is it? It's over there by Home Depot, but on the north side of the interstate. Them apartments, the VO1 or something like that, or VAE apartments, they had their artificial turf in their little dog pet area
ISU did it in their new parking spot.
in their new
On
parking
campus,
spot on
yeah.
campus.
Instead of having little spots that have grass, they did artificial right there.
Okay. And I know their outdoor field is artificial turf, practice field next to ICCU dome. And that seems to work out for them that
Yeah.
way. That would be definitely like a commercial example of artificial turf. There was a part of this code required. Let's see here. Well, see here. Edge restraint shall be provided, so that keeps it from rolling up or being drug off or keeps it where it's supposed to be. They do admit that it does kind of increase the severity of an injury if kids are playing on it, because you don't have nice soft padded grass to land on. And if you don't have it nailed down like carpet, then it might get a roll in it and your foot might catch on it and cause you to trip more.
I would see it as a detriment to try and resell it.
Yeah, I don't think you could resell it.
No, I'm not talking the turf, I'm talking the house.
Oh, the house, that it wouldn't be,
Because how many people want artificial turf, especially if they have kids coming in?
that's right.
And I don't see where it would increase the value of the home in any way.
Yeah, the resale value
Mhm.
might be detriment to it because they'd have to tear it out and put sod in if they wanted it. Yeah, I mean, this is so residents could have it either way if they want it, and if they don't want it.
Until they want to sell it, and then they're in trouble.
Yeah, or till then. It's also a way that we could reduce the need for culinary water to irrigate spaces as well. That
I see it as mom and dad don't want to have to mow,
yeah,
and so they put it in. Mom
yeah,
and dad died, now the kids have to sell the house because they don't want it either.
yeah.
There's a house on Curtis, that the whole front yard is rock and cactus.
Yeah, but rock is different than artificial turf.
Not much.
When you can go out with Roundup and, take care of the weeds that grow up through the rocks. With this, I see it as an eyesore. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But once again, I'm back to why is residential no conditional use permit and why is non-residential?
Well,
Requires you-
the intent of the purpose is to allow residents to use it. I think it's a good idea to have a little control over how it's used commercially. We do have landscaping requirements for commercial parking lots and such. I think it just keeps us out of getting into the big commercial projects like football fields and tracks and I guess
We can't specify that.
I
Because
guess we could.
I'm with her. I kind of agree with not,
A parking lot that has a few trees in the corner, Walmart as an example,
Mhm.
they put rock in, they could have easily put artificial turf
and a little
and
better.
never had to deal with
Mhm.
issues
Mhm.
such as weeds and such. And why should they have to get a conditional use permit?
Well, I know that a lot of that rock that they use around Walmart and alongside the road sometimes is to deter vagrancy as well. That it isn't, so it doesn't make it a comfortable place to stand or lay
In
down.
the summertime, this isn't gonna be comfortable to sit on either.
No.
And in the wintertime, it's gonna be slick. Maybe that's why they went with rock instead of
Yeah.
turf, because they don't want a lawsuit because somebody slept on it.
Yeah, I mean, we can take that suggestion and add it in here.
But I also think like commercial applications is like apartment complexes, like the one over
True.
by my house. Gosh darn it, the one that on Division 3 or number 3, Honeybrook.
Honeybrook.
You know, that corner out there, they had this tiny little piece of
You're talking about
grass.
townhomes on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's actually
Samwell's and stuff like
townhomes
that. I
across.
think something like that, you know, where we're looking at the xeriscape.
Well, that corner,
Xeriscape, or however the heck you say
that
that.
corner of grass right there was actually city right away they were improving for the city. And
But something like that is a great spot because then you don't have to water it, you don't have to maintain it.
The
And
kids don't go play on it.
it depends on the turf. I have 5 or 6 samples that we've worked through and they're just, I've put them out, I've stepped on them, they feel just like grass. So,
Have you
I mean,
ever-
they're not cheap, but
never had any issues with vandalism after an installation on a
We
commercial
haven't.
property or right away?
and we haven't done a ton. There is a company out of Pocatello, that's all they do.
Yeah.
Is turf. And when I was talking to them at a pre-bid, they said that they're pretty busy just installing turf and stuff like that.
So the business we have in town, Turf Co. or whatever it's called out there,
Yeah.
26, did they do artificial turf or did they do?
They're grass. They're sod.
They're soft.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, my next question, the highlighted area,
Yeah.
is that to be replaced with all of this?
We're just gonna adjust that highlighted area to cross out carpentry and then reword it so the grammar structure is correct. That's the only place it mentions anything we're close to artificial turf. So we have to create a whole new section of code to allow this turf.
So you're bringing this just for discussion.
Yeah,
And then once you get it reworked and stuff like that, then we'll
yeah.
have to read through it.
Yeah, I was given this like the day before our packets were supposed to come out by the mayor for that discussion. And since then, I have started the drafting of the code that'll come with it. But I haven't had Garrett review it yet, and it's not quite finished.
I'd like to make a request
Okay.
that when we look at the newly improved version, but we also look at the rest of this that I think is way beyond what needs to be.
Okay.
And like I said, the one that says, number 4 on page, this would be page 3, 1, 2, 3. Under shrubs, it says shrubs will not be less than a 3-gallon size when replanted. Come on. I don't think that's fair. If someone's willing to put in a hedge and they buy 1-gallon size plants, Okay, it takes a little longer for them to grow, but so what?
It's
They
an
can't
image.
afford to buy 3-gallon pots. I just think it's way too restrictive. And I think a bunch of the rest of this is too.
I'm good for that. Maybe review that whole section once you've added the artificial turf in.
Okay,
And then under installation, there are quite a few things here I've marked, but one of them says natural vegetation or earthen berm. I thought we talked about berms and said, they're pretty much a waste of land. And who's gonna go out there and mow it again? I thought we were kind of in agreement that we weren't doing berms and subdivisions. Am I mistaken, or? is
I think that was
what it said?
before me.
I think that's,
Okay, how about you? Okay. I thought there was something said about berms and,
I don't love berms because I hate to mow them.
exactly,
So-
everybody does. And if you want privacy from the road, then put up a solid fence. But to create a berm is just a waste of dirt.
Mhm.
Not just building it up, but the whole width of it.
Well, and that's
And for a
already,
subdivision to have to pay for that money just in order to have some privacy is
Well-
cost prohibitive.
these are landscaping requirements that cover both residential and commercial. And the earthen berm is usually used within the buffer zone if the commercial lot butts up to a residential lot or zone.
Okay.
And that's probably just giving another option for the commercial zone to be able to get that approved for if it's a parking lot or just need a noise barrier or a line of sight barrier to go around.
Well, once again, we need to discuss that on the next go round.
Okay. Yeah, because the title says landscaping requirements for certain yard areas. And I think this kind of gives you options for both, for commercial and residential.
I think if we have that whole packet, and it looks like you do, then we can go through that and discuss the whole thing. I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
You know,
I'm personally in favor of eliminating as much as we can. Because it's too prohibitive. So back to the non-residential, conditional use permits. Is that gonna stay in there, or is that gonna be discussed with the mayor and possibly removed?
Well, the way it's written now, it says, no conditional use permits are required for residentials.
Correct, but then it says on non-commercial, conditional use permits are required. And that's my question. Why are they required on one and not on the other?
So this is new, and I think he was just thinking about residents to allow them to be able to do it.
Mention it to him.
Okay.
Well, isn't it, and just throwing this here, it's up to us. I mean, if you bring this back to us, ready for us to read and review and make the changes, vote on it, so we can vote on it,
Yeah.
I'd say this, whoever it was, doesn't matter what Scott says at that point. He can override us later,
Yeah.
but it's up to us. I don't think we need to ask for his permission to take it out. Or
Okay.
Personally, I think we have you guys get it presented to us and we go through it and
Well, am I out of line to question this? That's my question.
no,
No, I just think the main, like it says, the purpose of and intent was recognizing artificial turf as a manufactured service. It doesn't say anything in here whether we're trying to make it easier for someone in a residential zone or area to be able to install it. I think it's a good idea to maybe hold back a little bit from the commercial, because the commercial, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, it's a better quality that they have to use if they're going to play soccer on it.
oh, absolutely, yeah. That's a completely different animal for a sports venue.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying, I think that Travis, we could add those definitions or those requirements. But I think, a condo project or something like that, where we're trying to limit their use of culinary water to irrigate,
Okay,
is a fantastic
way of doing it.
way for that.
Okay.
And I think that benefits us even more than Audrey's home or my home to do it.
Yeah.
I think Scott's just doing it because he has artificial turf at his house and he's realizing that he broke the law.
That could be an interesting point made. I think also that in a commercial setting, though, you're gonna have higher standards for them to
Again,
maintain.
he just said that the
Yeah.
quality in a commercial is better
Yeah,
than on a residential, so why does commercial have to get conditional use permit? That's what I'm getting at.
well, I think we
If they're
should,
using better product, then
well,
they shouldn't
I
have
think we
restrictions.
need to ensure that they are using better product. And that's why we kind
For
of
the
stayed
review.
out of that, for the review.
I
Yeah,
get that.
and so if they
Do
did,
they have to do a submittal review to you guys on that?
we don't have any code written for that. We could say, yes, this is a conditional use and go by the general conditional use procedure, but we don't have it on our schedule of uses.
But if, so I'm gonna go to her, I'm gonna side with her.
Yeah.
But if we want them to use a better product,
Mhm.
we should require residents to do the same steps. We don't want our carpet direct,
Yeah,
99-cent green carpet out there. We want the $3. And not because we want you to spend more money, because it drains.
Mhm.
It's going to weather better. It's going to last longer. It's not going to end up in the landfill as quickly as the 99-cent one. I
okay,
mean, that's where I think if we're trying to get, we want them to use it, but on the same token, we don't want them to use junk.
Junk.
Require some type of submittal and you don't have to do that by brand because there's 300 or 400 brands that
Yeah.
meet that commercial grade. There's a fantastic distributor out of Las Vegas that carries 10 of them and you can get them in 2 days.
yeah. Well, I think that's why to have a good quality residential use, that's why we're adding these 3 definitions. And then in section 4, it uses them definitions as turf systems shall be installed per manufacturer and specifications. An engineered base is required. Edge restraints shall be provided. And installations do not create uneven surfaces, expose base materials, or drainage failures. So I think if we allowed commercial to not have a conditional use permit in order to install it and then make them have engineered bases and edge restraints and stuff like that. I haven't worked with enough artificial turf to say, okay, if we have to meet these 4 design criteria on any application, we're gonna get a good quality product to do that.
Absolutely, but we should make residential follow that same guideline.
Yeah.
Whether it's commercial or residential, that installation guide
Yeah.
should be followed.
Yeah.
And it should be per manufacturer.
Yeah.
Because different bases, like the one that we used, is a sand base. You could argue if that's,
It's enough space for athletics or not.
but athletics, I mean, that's a completely different game. And nobody's going to go to put in, a soccer field
Yeah.
with turf without having to go through a big commercial project.
Mhm.
And they're not gonna you and I aren't gonna go out and lay that.
No.
So, I mean, there's compaction, there's all kinds of things that you need to do it per manufacturer's code and their guide. That residential people should follow as well.
Yeah. Well, with these 4 criteria items,
I agree,
It
but I'm
kinda-
just saying it should be both
Yeah.
residential and commercial.
it kind of is pushing them into the professional installation, not to do it yourself first,
And
to do that.
there's some do-it-yourselfers probably do it better than a
Yeah.
professional does.
Or-
But
Or they do it professionally and then they're just doing it for
Yeah.
themselves.
I think, but that goes the same thing. If you're gonna require a commercial company
Mhm.
to follow those guidelines, but get a conditional use permit, that's kind of horse crap because you're making the residential do the same thing without a commercial or without.
a conditional use permit. That's
So
not
it
being
should,
reviewed.
the permit should be both or none.
Okay.
And as long as they comply with your other requirements, we shouldn't have to go before the
Okay. All right, I'll take that.
You're awful quiet.
suggestion back.
Learning.
You're learning. Good. Oh,
soaking it all in, huh?
Well, I agree with you, we lived in Dallas for 30 years, and all the high school people are there.
Mhm.
It's a totally different thing, it lasts forever, it's great.
They do. Well, and they seam them together just like you do carpet. I mean, if you do it correctly.
yeah, well, they have turf where you can't grow enough grass or
So where do you?
water.
Green.
Well, I spent a lot of time in Midland at one time, and
And it's hot,
it's hot.
trying to keep those fields.
The water that's there sucks to begin with, it tastes bad, and it's hard to find if you can find it. But that place where they filmed Friday Night Lights, I'd stay by that stadium, and football down there, even high school football is just a whole nother religion.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta see the stadiums down
Yeah, and yeah, there's that stadium that they filmed Friday Night Lights in was probably, I think, it held 40,000 people easy. And Holt Arena, I know they do 50,000 on one side. I can't remember what the other side is, but with the new skybox in there, I think they took some seats out. But yeah, I mean, we're pretty arid, but we still have winter here, or somewhat of it. So.
Yeah.
We'll go on to the next item on the agenda then for the comprehensive plan.
Yep.
One of the comments in here was to update in the glossary the definition of the planned unit development. We continue to try to remind the residents during the comprehensive plan hearing is the comprehensive plan is just a general guide. It isn't city code. What I've provided in your documentation, one, it says state statutes on it. This is the actual definition of what a planned unit is with the current state statute. I provided in here examples of what our code is. This packet is at the end. Yeah, examples of our code. You got this sheet that has plan development and planned unit development on it. And then there's other sections within Title 11 for zoning regulations and Title 12 for subdivision applications of what a planned unit development is. The resident mentioned in his comments that he wanted to add in the glossary, the last part of this definition is provided for under single ownership and control. If you look in our definitions, I don't know why they didn't combine these two together between planned development. It does say that it's a development under single ownership and control. And then below that, they added planned unit development. I think both them definitions, if we was to improve our code, that we would combine them definitions to make sure that that one phrase in there under single ownership and control was included in the planned unit development.
I could be all washed up, but I was under the impression that a planned unit development can have narrower roads maintained by the homeowner association, whatever. And also, you only own the footprint where your house is, you do not own the yard. All of that belongs to the homeowners association, so that makes it different to have a 17 lot planned unit development with 17 owners and all 17 owning the yards
Well,
as opposed to one owner.
this under single ownership and control is only during the development. And we relinquish that after the development agreement is completed. The development agreement has to be complete and all the punch list items on through the final walkthrough is completed, or we don't issue any COs. That single ownership and control is to ensure that all the improvements required by the city are installed before they start selling properties off.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with future ownership, it's
Has-
just to get things.
Just to get the development going. Yeah, that's why it's again reiterated in Title 12, which is subdivision applications.
So on that, if it's a three-phase subdivision,
Mhm.
they can start,
Subdivision or
or
planned unit development.
planned unit development,
Mhm.
they can start selling units as soon as the first one's done, before they go to 2 or 3.
Since they record the plat.
No, they can't. They can try, but what card we hold is the certificate of occupancy.
So the person in Division 1 or Development 1 doesn't get a CO until they're completely done with Division 3.
Well, it depends on how they're phasing it, but more than likely in
Oh.
phase 1, we require all improvements to be done in phase 1. So
You're
the
referring to roads
roads,
and
gutters,
other infrastructure.
curbs, sidewalks, all that has to be completed
In all 3, if it's a 3.
through the whole development. If it's a 3-phase, then we go, okay, the only reason why they really phase them is because after a year, our will serve letter expires, their DEQ letter expires, their development agreement expires. And so then they have to start that all over again or get a letter of extension for each one of them.
Travis, the only reason they don't do all 3 at once,
Mhm.
they don't have the funds.
Yeah, that's true too. They do
It's
You
have
have
to
to
do.
not-
sell those lots in order to have enough money. to
Yeah,
get
that's right.
these too.
Mhm.
It's
So
not
saying
that.
you have to put in all the infrastructure, that's unrealistic.
That's,
Well, I think that's great.
Well, it's
That's-
great for the city, but
that's-
not for the developer.
that's the standard procedure right now is to request the improvements in the first phase.
On all 3 development.
If
And I'm
you,
just
if you were
using
doing,
3 as a,
Yeah.
as a guide.
yeah, even if there's 3 or 5, we want our streets, we want our sewers, we want our water
What if they
lines.
never develop 2 and 3 because they don't have the funds?
Then we have our improvements in there and it's an asset to that property to be resold and taken over by another developer that can do it.
And by then, the sidewalks are all cracked.
Well, we can only, the sidewalks has the
Because when you
same
put
amount of
sidewalks
life.
in, before you build the house, you've got your dump trucks driving over the sidewalks.
We do have allowances for that. For example, airport townhomes, we allowed them not to do the curb or the sidewalk along the eastern border of East Airport on that east end over there until they were done building or taking deliveries in. And then later on, before we sent them the letter of acceptance for the subdivision, they paved that sidewalk, curb and gutter.
But they'd already sold the properties prior to that.
Yeah,
It's my
so
understanding-
there's the next step to hold them to something else is not give them that letter of acceptance.
I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to understand it because, I don't know, I'll be honest with you, the planned unit development, I think we've allowed more than we should have. And I know the one that we're all frustrated with isn't because of us. It was city council that changed it, and them to do a PUD. But I think that's,
You're not calling it a PUD though,
Yeah, yeah, they
over
are.
there it is.
over on Highland.
Yeah, Highland Heights of
Yeah.
PUD.
But when
Even
you were
where the
talking,
single-family dwellings are,
No, it's a combination of both.
but I thought the
But-
plat said
The plat does
Highland
say,
Heights subdivision, not Highland Heights PUD. Am I wrong?
the application says PUD. I don't know if it's about the title of the plat.
but when they were talking about it, they said that they were not gonna do all the roads and that at the time they were gonna do the houses.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then,
So
I
on,
said-
on a regular subdivision, if there's gonna be single-family homes and they're gonna sell each individual lot to whatever builder they're gonna hire to build their home, Yeah, we don't require them to put the sidewalk in until that's built, just like they did on Harris Loop. Now, on a planned unit development, just like townhomes at Cromwell, they had to put in all their pavement, asphalt, sidewalk, curb, gutter, retention ponds, all in phase one.
Doesn't that sound contradictory?
But what I'm saying is, you said that it didn't say subdivision, it said PUD.
Yeah.
When it was presented, they did not say they were gonna continue the roads and sidewalks until they started those other
Phases.
phases.
Well, they can
Isn't
say
there
that.
three-phase?
They want 5
Oh,
currently. But that is determined when we write the development agreement. We don't write the development agreement until the DEQ approves it. And the DEQ won't approve it unless they provide satisfactory preliminary construction plans to show where their runoff's gonna go.
Okay, if they had come in and not asked for a zone change and just said, we want to develop these 20 residential lots, single family, you would have required a road for those. If they had never said anything at all about additional phases, then there would have been no question. When they came in to do an additional phase, then they would have had to provide roads to those lots. But because you knew they were doing all of them, now you're saying they have to put in all that infrastructure.
Anything
That
over
doesn't seem right.
Anything over a minor subdivision application would require that. A minor subdivision application is 4 lots or less with no new roads. If you're doing a new road or more than 4 lots, we automatically push you to a subdivision or a planned unit division application or development, sorry.
so, okay, and I get what you're saying.
Mhm.
So you just said if they're doing 4 or more, you push them towards a subdivision or a PUD.
Yep.
Why are we even offering PUDs? That's what I don't understand that, and I haven't since I've been on here. Why are we offering that within the city of Blackfoot? Why don't they have to come and say, I want to do a PUD and present their case right, at that point instead of giving them that option? Because, obviously we're getting all kinds of feedback and kickback from this one. We've got some from over by me. But to me, that one over there is ridiculous because the roads in and out isn't there and it can't be supported.
Well,
So I'm asking, not trying to throw you under the bus, Travis. I'm asking more for knowledge.
Clarity.
it's part of our standard code for any developer to be able to apply for a PUD. And the reason
That's a silly question.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a subdivision and a PUD?
a PUD allows
Planned unit development.
planned unit development is like a subdivision, but with what they call in design-in settings. If it is proposed that it is satisfies that it is the definition of infill, you're allowed to have reduced setbacks, reduced lot sizes. We require a PUD for anything with a townhome because you cannot have them setbacks and be able to divide a townhouse up into 4 units and be able to sell them units separately.
Okay, that makes sense on that.
So that's one reason why for a PUD, and that is clearly defined in our PUD application and in our schedule of uses. That if you want to do a townhome or up to 4 units, then you have to get a conditional use permit, which refers to a planned unit development application, which is the conditional use permit.
So like over there by Cooper's Cove, had they not been able to do a PUD, they would have only, how many acres? Like 24 acres,
No, it's less than that, 18. counting
18
the roads.
acres.
Where's Cooper's Cove at?
Over by,
East Airport,
Yeah.
Road. Yeah.
and so
Cooper's Way is the street with cruisers loop through it.
So it's 18 times. So you could have done roughly 42, 43 homes.
But I still have a problem with allowing acreage.
I mean, just using
Roads.
easy. So you could have done 40 some homes. With a PUD, they're doing
148.
148
Wow.
in that same
Because
Footprint.
the minimum lot size is.
Yeah, because when you go to do the density requirement for a planned unit development, you take the gross acreage and divide it by the density. You don't that's what's allowable to start with. And they can even apply for 20% more density in there. But that doesn't include the roads because that's supposed to be later on in the application process to say, okay, if you're gonna dedicate the road and make it a dedicated right of way, you gotta make it 60 feet wide. That's our city standard.
Opposed to the 37.
Well, as opposed to as little as
26, isn't it?
26, I think is correct. And that, because that's fire code. So if you have a development that goes deeper than, can't remember if it's 250 feet or 150 feet, 150, then you gotta have a hammerhead style turnaround or a cul-de-sac. And when you get in there, then the minimum requirement for a fire apparatus turnaround is 26 feet wide with a 28-degree radius turning and 120 foot long.
Yeah, that's kind of like in my area. I live on Christensen,
Mhm.
so they got that hammerhead at the end of the.
That's right. Down there, yep. And so that is also, it would have to be like a dedicated fire lane. No one could park on there on off, like street parking. You'd have to provide all off-street parking for every resident, up to a certain couple. We just reviewed that and increased that to 3. So yeah, that's part of the planned unit development as well, is that they have to put in all the water and sewer lines. And then if they don't dedicate that road or can't dedicate that road to the city, that all becomes that HOA's property to maintain. We get to go in and maybe blow out the sprinkler or read the meter, but they have to maintain them lines. The city doesn't have to maintain it. So that's an advantage of a PUD, that infrastructure gets put in and it isn't the city's responsibility to maintain.
Unless they follow those other codes.
And so, yeah, some of these other codes fall in there. And so, but even if you do the math that shows your gross acreage divided by your density, it's hard to achieve that by the time you decide whether you're going to go dedicated roads or non-dedicated roads, or a private lane or private driveway. And then if you're going to have a HOA to collect fees in order and have a little slush fund built up and legally maintain that in their little quasi-government. So if a line breaks or needs to be replaced, or they have enough in there by the end of life expectancy of them lines to replace them, then that's their problem after that. That's them 143, 46 people's problem if they didn't dedicate that. But they are dedicating that. They are making it wide enough. They are going to provide places to be able to push snow in the winter, to store snow and retain all storm water as well. All that's taken into consideration in the application process. That's why we take staff reports from all department heads. That it's included in my staff report. All of them will be special conditions of the development agreement. If they don't meet these conditions, they don't get their CO. So them are cards that we hold to make sure things get done. Is the development agreement, COs, letter of acceptance, all of them.
But shouldn't they know upfront that this is what because like I said, that bothered me that night when they said, well, we're not gonna do the whole,
They can say that all that they want. And they could not sign their development agreement. And they could negotiate their development agreement, or we can just say, no, tough. That's our standard operating procedure for right now. You're going to do all the improvements first for all phases. We might leave out maybe your irrigation system. We might leave that out for phase 2 or 3 because you won't be growing any lawn until you get some units in there, right? We might leave out a retention pond that is only the storm water drainage for that phase, stuff like that. But
So
usually
you're not requiring everything,
we're not requiring
depending on who it is.
everything, but we are requiring what the city wants out of it. So yeah, that's how we get that infrastructure in there. Whether there's success of the development or not. The infrastructure is in there. So take, for example, Legacy Point. They put the improvements in, but they have not finished the water, the sewer, or paved out to a three-way intersection where Peterson will eventually connect. So they will not receive a CO. They can apply for a building permit and get it, pay their fees and start building, but they cannot get a CO until their development agreement is met.
You do realize people live in their houses without a CO, right?
I do realize that, but it's really hard to do that in a commercial building in a hotel, if that's your anchor project. And yeah, we have abatement programs for people that try to do that as well. That's out of my wheelhouse. That goes into the building officials and fire marshal's job. That's why we got that guy and not me. So.
Well, I'm curious to know.
I was gonna say, Idaho State Code, and I can't remember if property code is 50 dash, or if it's 55 dash, or what it is. Is it 50 dash? Or is Idaho State Code?
What title are you referring to? Because 67 is planned unit developments.
The one that has to do with subdivisions and such.
I think that one is
Property
50,
taxes.
50, I think that's
50,
around title, yeah.
In one of those state codes, it says that you cannot sell a lot unless the plat has been recorded.
Mhm.
As soon as the plat's recorded, whether it's phase one or the whole shooting match, once it's recorded, they can start selling those lots. If you sell them prior to getting it recorded, there's a $100 fine. Nowhere does it say who gets the $100. I think that's really interesting.
Where our enforcement comes in is the CO. You don't get their CO. That's the card we hold back.
Even though they sold lots
Well, the other card that we can hold
and they
back,
did a building permit.
the other card we can hold back. So this is the sequence. So just recently, they approved Honeybrook 3 of City Council. And so technically, the project is approved. We do have to update the finding of facts with the City Council's recommendation for a traffic study. Besides that, though, from this point, after it was approved, we will issue a will serve letter. That will serve letter is required for the DEQ application. They can't get approval or apply for that application without that will serve. After that DEQ approval, whatever they say in there, and the special terms from the staff report, that goes into the development agreement. Now, the development agreement has to be approved by City Council before it's signed by the mayor and the developer, and then recorded with the county. After the development agreement, we can hold off on approving the plat if there's need be. Or we can go ahead and approve it. But it still says in every development agreement that they will retain sole ownership. Now, if they don't follow that agreement, we will enforce our part of that agreement and hold the COs. So yes, it is written in our development agreement for sole ownership based on the development. If it's a subdivision or if the plat needs to be done, them are special terms and conditions that are usually included in the development agreement.
Okay. Now, did you forget what you were gonna ask?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Should have written it down.
All right. So back
You
to
should have written it down.
the comprehensive agreement, or comprehensive
Sorry.
plan, definition of a planned unit development. In my opinion, I don't think we need to update it. If you would like to update the definition in the glossary, we can do that, but we are covered pretty well in code. It isn't perfect and maybe needs to be improved later on, but the definition of a planned unit development, according to the state statute, exists in our definitions or within our subdivision application or zoning regulations.
So are you still saying that you want to combine the two into one?
Later on, yes, but this
Later.
discussion is more for the glossary definition of the comprehensive plan. So that is one of the considerations for the comprehensive plan. Another one, I can go back to the comments. I like how Benny sent a email to Misty here. It's in your packet. It says here, regarding the comprehensive plan, I would support naming the document comprehensive and feasibility plan. I could also support Jan Nisha's suggested title, City of Blackfoot Status, Resources and Goals, a Comprehensive Plan. I also support the clarification of the nickname concerned with the Historical Society. He's referring to that Grove City was never an official applied for city for a post office or a plat, and it was always just a nickname. The official names were Central Ferry and Blackfoot originally. So there's 2 citations in the comprehensive plan that said it was named originally Grove City. We would rewrite that to say that the original nickname to Blackfoot was Grove City, or somewhere along them lines. That is a request from the Historical Society with Heather McPhee.
I'm fine with seeing.
Fine with that? What, you want to keep the title the same, or you?
I'll tell you my opinion about that. Everybody's in every city, it's a comprehensive plan.
Mhm.
I don't think just because someone doesn't like it, that it needs to be changed to something else. That's just my 2 cents.
Mhm.
I'll go with what the other people think, but I think,
I support as long as it says comprehensive plan, because that's how it's noted in the state statute that has to be renewed every 10 years, a comprehensive plan. Whether you call it a feasibility study
no,
or give it a fancy, this is almost like a book title, City of Blackfoot Status, Resources and Goals Comprehensive Plan. That almost sounds like a romance novel trying to start.
I don't think that would at all.
So you want to keep the original title then?
I think that's a good idea, but I think people need to be educated to know, because there were comments made after our last meeting, that this is, how did they say it? It's not treated with respect that it needs to be, not just a suggestion, it needs to be, on and on and on and on.
Mhm.
And that's not what we've been told it is.
That's right, and that's
We've
what
been
we,
told that it is a plan, a goal,
Mhm.
a watered down version that has flexibility to it.
Mhm.
Well, it's supposed to be flexible. It's
Yeah.
supposed to grow.
Those people that were here didn't feel that way. They wanted it to be walked in as if it was city code.
Yep.
And
well, we
that
have,
they need to take city hall.
we have city code for that.
I know, but city hall takes
Mhm.
care of that.
Yep. I agree, and I got that same feeling that they felt that this was, the book of Blackfoot, for lack of a better word. That's what we're gonna be judged by, and come hell or high water, that's what we need to
Yeah, well,
live by, live and die by, not the
Yeah.
codes and guides.
that's what the Historical
Yeah.
Society, they wanted to make it a history book. And I said, you get 3 references, just where it says Grove City. Whatever you want to do there, that's fine, but it's a comprehensive plan, not a history book. So we're not gonna show the official application for the post office. We're gonna say it was nicknamed
Yeah.
on maybe a certain
Yeah.
year, and then go on with life, because it isn't a history book. And it isn't city's own regulations or city code for that matter. So
No.
we'll
Any
make,
suggestions, unlike their opinion.
yeah,
And they need to be made aware of that.
yeah.
They have, they're just not willing to accept it.
But I don't recall ever stating that flat out to them.
We have here. We have, and so is,
We've discussed it in work meeting,
no, but we did up there, and so did, our lawyer,
here,
Garrett.
Yeah.
Straight out told him, and she disagreed with him. So, I mean, they're gonna believe what they wanna believe, just like we all drive brand new trucks, cause we get paid, under the counter for this.
I wanna know where my
by the
brand
way,
new
you
truck
didn't
is.
know this was volunteer, did you? Okay,
You
Just
get a brand new
checking.
truck by being dishonest, apparently.
I don't have my brand new truck yet.
That's because you're a city employee. It's the rest of us. No, I mean, and it's not just this, but they're gonna believe and they're going to push the only thing that they want. You know, just like you can't develop your property and make it a 3-story home because I want to be naked outside, and you might see me. But
When you're, I thought you were talking about the airport.
no, I'm just saying, they're only, I mean, all of us, we get fixated on one thing, and it's what's gonna benefit us the most, or what we like, what we expect our neighbors to do, and that's not our goal here.
Right.
And when they come in, they come in with the goal of intent of, we're gonna enlighten everybody, and we're gonna show them that they're wrong, and I'm right because I read this. And this is the way that I understood it. And we all read, or have read the Bible. The Bible is only given, you only understand certain parts of the Bible as you read and grow and have experiences. And it's the same with comprehensive plan, with any of our guides and regulations that we have to live by. We only really understand those when something happens.
But the city codes are the ones that
That
need to be
regulate.
specific.
And we included that with an explanation in the hearing saying, and we probably should have shut down the hearing before we even said that according to procedure. But we said, this is just a plan. It isn't code. If you want to change code, all our contacts are available. And we have this meeting on the same Tuesday of every month, except for maybe November and December. And we would love for you to come to that meeting and provide input or address a concern with it on the code. And we can look at it, see why it's that way or not, and change it.
Mhm.
That would be more, or call my office anytime. That would be more proactive than thinking that it all lies within the comprehensive plan and circling the wagons through Facebook on the comprehensive plan. So we are willing to invite anyone. The door's still open from last time I checked today. We're still being recorded. We're still being posted on YouTube. This is the meeting that they should come and do that to get the code changed. So we'll
Joanne's getting text about code changes. So Joanne's getting texts about getting code changes now that you said that. From all our listeners out there.
from our
Thank you,
listeners, yeah, from our
Yeah.
YouTube channel. All right, so we
Okay, so we're
had
gonna-
other comments.
Joanne. We're gonna leave the name the same.
You leave the name
That's
the
what we
same.
decided.
Yeah. We're gonna leave the name the same. I think we're gonna leave the glossary the same because we covered the definition of a planned unit development within the code.
We're gonna change to nickname of Grove City.
Nickname of Grove City
Locations.
and them 3 locations.
There's one.
You know, with the history section, not only changing the Grove City's just a nickname, the research that Heather McPhee did showing the, was it Central Ferry
Yeah,
and all that? I don't think it would hurt at all to include that in there.
and to include Central Ferry in there.
And the little bit of history that she put about, you know, how we had the post office there and it became Blackfoot Post Office, and the railroad called it Blackfoot.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's really quite interesting. A lot
So
more than some of the populations records in there.
if we
Whatever's
change
more
it,
important or fun- better to read than population.
if we change it,
I said, anything is more enjoyable to read than population.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
if we-
people just looking at it.
Yeah,
Just
if we-
take a minute and read that page. I think it would be interesting to include her comments on the actual history.
yeah, but if we change a lot of what we posted for our public notice, we'll have to repost it and rehear it again. And so I think changing it maybe to say official names included Central Ferry and Blackfoot, but Grove City was always just a nickname and never applied for. I think that satisfies for what the comprehensive plan and doesn't change the material too much to have it reposted and reheard. I think the comment from Jan Meesh about the area of impact, I think that is just a preference there. We all seen the changes that I had to do after the state statute was changed and after the committee had made their changes on that chapter. And I think that's well covered already. She had a suggestion in here. In some instances, the word policies is used about contracts, such as within insurance. It is an easy step to transfer that meaning into plans, policies, and treat them as legal code. For the suggestion, I suggest using goals instead of policies in the title.
Well, I'll comment on that. If you have background, apparently she has background in insurance, she's going to understand. I think that's what that meant.
Mhm.
When we wrote it, it's not what I thought of.
Yeah,
So it's what you acknowledge. I don't care if we change it or not, but
Okay.
to change it to that, it's going to register to somebody else that it might mean something else to them too,
Mhm.
because that's what they're professional.
yeah.
So
But I would like to go back and say, we made too many changes. So say, yeah, you do go back and change the word policies to goals.
Goals.
Is that going to be too much to have it reheard?
I don't think so. But
I mean, we can review that statement with Garrett and say, okay, these are the changes, put them in red. And say, do you think we need to repost these? All these changes are up to what point? So we can put these changes in red, or at least a suggestion.
well, and that's, what do you guys think?
I don't see where it makes any difference one way or the other.
I don't see where it makes any difference.
It is.
I
So
think-
I think we just leave it the way it is then.
Yeah, it's a recorded response. It's a recorded recommendation. We acknowledged that, we read it, we considered it. And if that's where this P and Z commission wants to put it, that's where we put it.
Since those she's involved in insurance, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're gonna think of.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I think.
Exactly.
I mean, these changes would have been appreciated when you had your committee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the year that we wrote it, it was
Yeah.
fantastic to have people come in and talk.
Yeah.
Or participate.
Or have the historical society make comment then instead of after the fact.
Yep.
Karen Schumacher.
Does this go up with final vote?
It will go back, no,
We will put your recommendations in it and we will put them before the city attorney and see if these recommendations need to be added to the finding of facts to where it'll be approved under the consent agenda, probably in the March hearing. So this is just,
of 2026. Maybe it might go to 2027 if
I figured it's 26, yeah. So-
we wrote it in 24.
So, yeah, I can see that. That's incredible.
So, anyway,
You did a good job.
yeah. So them are the comments that I found. I found some
It's
material
weird.
in some of these other comments, I think is more preference.
I will be, Ken Seaver is the one that I liked what he talked about.
Okay.
And I've been trying to think of tonight what exactly it was that, when you brought it up, so I was kind of reading through this. And I know you talked about, the PUDs with the Idaho state statutes.
Mhm.
And I think that was it. Planned unit development with the state definition.
Mhm.
Does ours reflect the state definition, Travis? I can't remember.
Our covers, the state definition is more like one big long paragraph. It's on the
Is
sheet.
it this one?
Yeah, that one.
But ours doesn't, it doesn't read.
Ours
that.
break it up. Ours breaks it up into two different sections, and that's why I suggest that might be something we update in our code later. Everything's there in our code, but it's split up in definitions between plan development, and then the very next definition is planned unit development. And the planned unit development does not say under sole ownership, but the plan development does in the definition. But in both the zoning regulations and the subdivision application, it does make that a criteria that is sole ownership.
And maybe that's something you can see if we can just condense those two together.
Yeah, and I'd like to do that.
Within that, and if that's not such a big change, then we have to put it back out.
Oh, well, that would be a whole nother change. That would be a code change. We would,
Within our definition?
the definition within the code, yes. but
No,
not
the definition within our.
The glossary.
comprehensive plan.
Misty, can you pull that glossary definition up? I don't have that in front of me. What we have on our current,
Please and thank you.
please and thank you.
You're the best.
When it says sole ownership, what if you have a partnership? What if you have?
Then usually-
Even if it's not a partnership, what if you
Yeah,
have two
yeah, it would be in here.
individuals owning
Oh, you even
portions
highlighted
of ground and combined, they want to do this
That's all
new
about.
subdivision or this new plan unit development? Because I see those.
Yeah,
So he has it
Well-
right here. Plan unit development, PUD, an area of minimum contiguous size as specified by ordinance
Remember what
to be planned and developed as a single entity and containing one or more resident clusters, appropriate commercial, public,
Oh, yes,
or
yes.
quasi-public users may be
It
included
was over in,
if such uses are
Peach, Apple,
primarily for the benefit of the residential
and
development.
West Macintosh subdivision.
yeah, I think we had one suggestion just to add,
So to say.
see how it includes commercial and residential.
Mhm.
It misses industrial. That we might add
But could we substitute this
word for word.
word for word
I think
right there?
I think we can do that.
I think that would be good. I mean, that would be me. Take this definition from the Idaho statutes and put it in our definitions in the back of the book for the plan unit development.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Get back to single owner though.
Okay.
Joanne just made a good comment. Wells Macintosh, the garage, the complex that they wanted to build, the folks that had two owners of properties that were being involved,
Mhm.
that's not single ownership.
Then that application would probably be considered denied. We would probably review with the city attorney about how the state would uphold their own statute, because that's the vague language they use.
Because remember, it was a father and son or
Yes.
something. And then
Yeah,
Remember which one she's?
I do. When you said that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember that.
They built the building too close to the line or over the line, whatever it was.
Mhm.
So there weren't setbacks or there was actual encroachment, I don't remember which.
I
It
think
was a
the one you're referring to wasn't a PUD, it was a conditional use permit for
That's a fourplex.
a fourplex. And what their building didn't encroach on their property. It was the neighbor's garage that encroached.
That's what, and they were fine with it.
And they were fine with it continuing to encroach. The fire marshal put a condition of approval on it, that they add more fire protection on that corner that
Yeah.
was less than
They
5
were
foot setback.
fine with it, but the new owner down the road may not be fine with it. So that's where your problem comes in.
And now it's in a
Nobody owns anything
fourplex.
forever.
Yeah.
Is it a fourplex?
It was a fourplex.
Yeah, it was a fourplex. I couldn't remember earlier, but
See, that's why I was asking you. Go
Yeah.
look at it and see if you can figure out how the parking is gonna work.
we, like I said, we do have a site plan that was approved for the conditional use permit and by the building official for their building permit.
I know, but you go over there and tell me how.
Yeah, and
A
so,
Son,
fourplex with people
Wooten.
that
That's the
have
first
2
thing I
cars,
came to.
that's 8 cars at least, is gonna park. I just do not,
They
I pass it every day. I
They
don't
have
see
parking in the front with their setback, and they have parking in the back through the alley on that site plan.
You will go look.
Okay.
Buildings lots.
take some pictures and send it to me because I'm too lazy to go look.
Are you talking about?
The fourplex on Wooten between Apple, I think the
Was there-
actual
You
address
said
is
Willow, and I'm
Apple.
like, yeah, that's it. Said that-
It's Wooten and Apple. And it has the Apple address.
That was the first meeting I came to.
And then you got roped into this.
That was-
But yeah, so that was a conditional use permit, not a planned unit development. The father owned both lots
Yeah,
across the property line, and it was originally zoned for like a trailer park, and they were getting use that property line, but they required a planned unit development in order to put the center of that duplex down that old property line without having a setback right there. Because most of your setbacks, your front setback is based off your right of ways, and all the others are based off the property lines for your sides and rears. So yeah, that was part of that approval of that conditional use permit. They did not have to redraw that property line. They just had to have a conditional use for a duplex in that zone.
fourplex or fourplex.
Duplex. Duplex is a fourplex. So you got your single, twin homes or duplexes. Yeah, fourplex.
Duplex is one owner,
Duplex is
twin home can be 2. Or one.
Twin home is usually one level, and the owner is divided with, and they can't share. So the duplex can be sold with the unit above it, and that requires a vertical plat, and that's written in with planned unit developments and condominiums. But for like townhouses where it's the same owner from the ground floor to the ceiling or the roof, then you can't have setbacks in between each unit there. That's why that requires a PUD. So you can go without them setbacks. Now, interesting fact is they can reduce the setbacks, they can reduce the lot sizes, but they cannot reduce the street frontage. So for that whole building, they still have to maintain, I think in most zones it's 60 foot, and LDR1 it's 75 foot street frontage.
So even if they get a PUD, they still have to keep the street fire.
Yeah, for that one building
Okay,
still.
curious.
And then they still have to maintain, they can go up to 4 and still have to maintain that 10-foot separation between them and the next, at the nearest set point for the fire code.
Okay. So is there any more, I'm going back to our comprehensive plan, is there any more things that you think that we should look at or change, or are we good with?
I think them are the comments that had the most weight. We did have Karen Schumacher. She wanted to change something on the statistics a little bit. But the reason why they wasn't changed is because it was built in 2025. We was hoping to adopt it in 2025. So that's why it had 2025 statistics in it, not 2026.
Correct.
And with that being said, if we want to adopt everything as 2025, the mayor will still remain to be Mark Carroll. We might revert the librarian back to Lisa
Terrible.
Harrell.
But I thought we
And,
had to adopt it in 2026 because we're going to be
Yeah,
more months. I mean, we're not January 1, we're going to
that
be in March.
was another review that we have to do by this city attorney if that's too much of a change. Now, if that's too much of a change,
I don't think we changed the statistics. I think we leave those. I mean,
okay,
and it depends on who you get the statistics from. They can vary. Enough.
they can change every 6 months.
Well, 2026 aren't even established yet, so how can we use them?
So for the 2025 comprehensive plan, I think they had to use actually 2024.
The newest ones we.
The newest ones they can find at the time that they were making. And so now that it's 2026, yeah, there's some 2025 stats available.
But if we make those changes, then we're.
Yeah.
doing that I would say we'd have to go back out to public hearing.
So I say
personally.
leave that out and pretend like it's all 2025 still. And go that way. The Ken Seaver, he had the request for the PUD. He also had something in land use.
PUD is the one that stuck in my mind from
Yeah.
our meeting.
Well, he had a second change, chapter 3 land use. This section, higher density housing, contains the following statement. Both historically and in the comprehensive survey in 2022, citizens object to higher density housing being built near established neighborhoods, but it is necessary to accommodate growth. While growth is expected, the assertion that higher density development adjacent to single family language implies an inevitability and could be interpreted to justify spot rezoning. Now, what he considers to be spot rezoning is low density next to high density or medium density. That's not spot zoning. That's gradually stepping up. If we went from low density right to high density, then that can be considered spot zoning, but spot zoning more is to the actual uses that is allowed. So if you compared commercial or light industrial or heavy industrial to residential, that would definitely be spot zoning because they're completely separate uses. And they both don't work together. So if I took a lot in the middle of an LDR1 and say, okay, I'm going to zone this commercial, then that would be spot zoning. One example would be the vet clinic. The vet clinic and the vets, they wanted commercial, so they didn't have to apply for a conditional use permit. But that was going to be in the middle of the LDR1, and it would be attached to the light industrial. It was better to make it light industrial, so it connected and was contiguous to the light industrial and wasn't a spot of commercial right between an LDR1 and a light industrial. That would be more spot zoning than going from low density to medium density to high density residential.
I think it's what you feel is high density.
Yeah.
If it's a fourplex, you could feel that that's a high density personally.
Yeah, personally.
Whether the definition supports it or not, it's how you feel about that. So
Mm,
that one, I think that's why that one didn't really stick with me
okay.
as much personally.
All right.
I don't think that we needed to change.
But I
that
think his
top.
comments about the definition of a PUD would be covered just like the other gentleman's comments.
Yeah, we had a couple that
Okay.
said the same thing.
And so I think that, and some of these other comments, the same question about PUDs or the definition of, yeah, we can give that to them. We can do word for word, right out of the state statute, out of this Title 67, add it to the glossary.
And then they can't say that we don't have it.
Yeah.
They can interpret it differently, but can't say that we don't have what the state has.
And so I think that's enough for the discussion of the changes on the comprehensive plan.
Okay.
Not unless there's any more discussion. Nope, we're good. All right. The renaming of the 1300 block of South Fisher, I provided an email from the resident that lives there. Her name is Kelsey Rain. Her 3 suggestions was Natsu. We got to retain the suffix street. So it'd be Natsu Street, Elderberry Street, or Little Root Lane.
Little Root Street.
Yeah, Little Root Street.
Little Root
Sorry.
Street.
I lost that email from Benny.
Oh, I have that right.
In his email, he said that what the correct pronunciation or the correct spelling for the Shoshone word is, and that he continued to suggest that to avoid insulting anybody, that we should go ahead and recommend one of the other two names, either Elderberry or Little Root. Anybody want to make any suggestions?
I'm good with elderberry.
Elderberry?
I'm good with Little Root. too,
Elderberry?
but Elderberry's fine.
I like elderberry.
Going once, going twice?
Elderberry it is.
I
Is
know,
that-
Audrey was taking a deep breath there like she was gonna say something.
Well, I was just wondering what the neighbors think. Have the neighbors even been asked?
We only asked the one resident because she is the only one resident that is affected by the street change. The neighbors around the area have their address attached to the other streets, like Last.
The only one that faces.
She's the only one that
South
faces
Fisher on that.
that 1300 block of South Fisher.
Oh, that's right. Isn't there one more lot though?
No,
There's not. That's the only development that could be done. Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, I'm confusing this with John Walker's property, which is to the south and east.
that's right.
Okay, but this is
look
the
at
one.
Misty go.
What's that?
I said, look at Misty go. She's bringing it up for us.
this house faces Clifford. This house is the only house that faces South Fisher on the 1300 block. And this is a corn pasture,
That's right. And then the other
which
one's
is
a
owned
shop.
by this property over here.
And that one has a last street address on it.
Yeah, and this is the last street. So I suppose if they sold this field and broke it into lots, they would be elderberry addresses.
As well.
But currently, like all these ones on the edges, they all face Roberts, Last, and Collins. So the only one that it affects is this one.
So the question in my mind, and this is just clarifying, do we have elderberry trees in this area?
In the mountains, we have elderberry bushes.
Yeah, but we don't have anything local. I wonder where she came.
Well, elderberry is a Native American plant that they use for medicine and for nutrition.
Okay.
She must be Native American.
That's my guess as well. I didn't ask or
Well, yeah.
confirm that, but
But I'm assuming
by,
because all those names, three are,
Maybe.
Let's see, rain at Total Rain Theater at gmail.com. Is their email address? Yeah, I think elderberry's a great name.
elderberry, okay, I'll write up a letter of notification to all the public agencies that will be changing that street to elderberry. That is something that this commission has the power to do within the city code. House numbers are city council, but anything that this commission does can be appealed to city council on any decision as well. So
Still
we
have
know.
the same house number, just
Yes.
different street.
they'll have the same house number. We'll just change the street signs only on that 1300 block.
Do we have to vote on that or just,
You can if you want.
oh, I just was wondering what we need to do for procedure.
You guys have the option, and you didn't pick up this option last time I presented this, that you can hold a hearing if you so desired, but it only affects one resident. If you would like to record a vote, that might make it more official.
so do I have a motion?
I'll motion that we changed it to Elderberry Street.
Second,
You have a, you're the
Motion.
chairperson tonight, you can't second it.
She didn't.
I didn't.
I
He
did.
Oh,
did.
you did see.
He
Sorry.
was really
Steve.
quiet.
Yes,
You're
sir.
very
I
quiet,
second
Steve.
it.
He was tentative.
Do you have a motion?
We have a motion to name this street Elderberry Street, and a second. We'll have a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion
You know.
That was easy.
All right. Sorry if I wore you out tonight. But
Not as bad as some nights.
not as bad as some nights. We do have other items like kennel licensing that's really big, and floodplain. Floodplain need to be updated to state statutes 20
My
pages.
question on kennel licensing, is it allowed in any of the residentials?
Nope, just in rural ranchette
We're tagged.
or tag that we don't use. So it has to be in rural ranchette to even apply for it. But
Well, what about the person over on,
East Airport.
that's just a little chunk of rural ranchette for that one.
No, she's in the other one. They're talking about the goats and the chickens.
Oh,
no. The person that's on, it's the log house on,
is it on Airport, East Airport,
well,
kind of in that corner?
Oh, they're in rural ranchette.
They're in
And
rural
they have a
ranchette
kennel license already.
and they
I
have,
knew they, well, they
Are you
came
talking
in.
about Doug Button's old place?
Yeah,
Yeah, they already have a kennel license and they are in rural ranchette.
well, they have,
They
they have a conditional use permit for a kennel currently. They don't have a kennel license.
Yeah. They have permission.
They have permission under the current code.
okay.
But is your daughter babysitting, you have to go pick her up again?
No, we're just talking about stuff that's not on the agenda.
Okay. Would you like to adjourn, Chairman?
Yes, do I have
I motion that we adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
I,
Any opposed? No?
Travis says he wants to, yeah.
Did you second that one too?
No, Audrey.
I know I can't vote, Misty.
And then she said-
I mean, I can't.
Copies of all those.
You got, do you prefer printed copies?
We can-
We're leaving this.
Hey, I'm just
I love printed copies, I love paper.
When I was growing up, the
I
church
hate
was
reading off my
gonna
phone.
be gone.
So I did go through all the